Right, so in this video, I'll be showing you how to Dockerize a Node.js web server. So just to give like a simple summary of Node.js, it's pretty much an open source environment that allows you to run JavaScript code on the server, and is mainly used for developers to run their code for front and back end development in one language. That's pretty much what Node.js is. It offers like high performance, high scalability, just to give like a few reasons why you would choose it. But pretty much we're going to be making that really quickly. So let's get started. So first we'll open up Visual Studio Code, and then, okay, so it's saying here that the folder is not found. So you can just make a new folder. So what I can do is open folder, and then just click new folder. Then I'll just name it project, and then, okay, so let's delete that really quickly. All right, so now that we're in the folder, first thing we're going to do, we're going to create the index.js file. So it's going to have a bunch of different things, but in this file, we will be putting the main material or the main code inside of it that would be referenced in a JSON file and in a Docker file. So let's name this really quickly to index.js. So JS, this is basically we're saying we're making a JavaScript file. That's what the .js is for. And then you can see even in Visual Studio Code it says JS. So letting you know using JavaScript. All right. So first thing we're gonna do is gonna type this. It's const HTTP equal require, then parentheses, single quotation HTTP. And so what this line does is it inputs Node.js built-in HTTP module, and this allows you to create an HTTP server. So that's what's going on there. And then next we'll do const host name equal, and single quotations again, 0.0.0.0, like that. And so right now we're setting the host name to 0.0.0. So that just means that we will be listening on all available port networks. And then next, I'm going to C1ST port. So now we're defining the port, and we're going to decide where will it be listened on, where can we access it. So I'm going to say 3000. So we're just saying, now we're saying the server that we're going to create will be accessible through port 3000. And then next, go on to here. Alright, so what's going on here is that we're creating a HTTP server. As you can see right here, it says HTTP create server. I'm going to do that, and then we're going to give two parameters. So let's name that to be res status code equal 200. So what we just wrote here, this just means that it indicates the request was successful in HTTP. So that's what that line of code is doing. And then next, content type. All right. So then now in this line of code, we're just saying that, hey, we're setting the header, we're setting the type, what is it going to be, and then the type of text, pretty much. So that's what's going on here. And then next, to end off, now what we're doing here is just inputting when we get on the web server, when it's running, and we go to, and we access it using the port 3000, what do we want it to say? So it can just be simple as, hello world, hello world. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to take a look at my LinkedIn page. It can be something like that. So we'll keep that there and then close everything off. And we'll move on to the next part. And so, same thing. It's just saying, hey, we're sending a response to the client. And so, what happens when we access it is going to say this. The next, what we'll do, put in our next line of code. So, we'll do server listen. Name. So we're pretty much calling the variables that we defined over here already. So that's what's going on so far in this line. And equal greater than open bracket. Then let's see, console dot log server running at HTTP colon slash sign, host name, $sign begin. Colon, and then close the parentheses, and then add that. All right. So this line of code right here, all that's going on is that it tells the server to start listening for incoming connections on the specified host name and port. So we specified host name, as 000, and then the port is 3000. So basically right here, since we set the environment variable, we're just putting the environment variable here rather than, putting this 0.0.0.0 and then the port. We can just, since the environment variable is set, we can just call it like that. So that's the end of that index.js file, but we still need to make a package.json file and then the Docker file. So let's do the JSON file. All right. So in here, we're going to start with the curly bracket. Then we're going to say, define a few things. So I'm going to say name, Docker, and then since we're adding on, we're going to put a comma. And actually, this should be lowercase, not, yeah. All right. And now we're going to define the version. It's going to be 1.0.0. Next, we're going to define a description. Then we're just going to say a small and simple Node.js application. Add the comma. Next, I'm just going to say main. And then I'm going to put index.js. And then give it the quotations. Then comma. And so what's going on here is that we're just referencing this file that we just created. So that's why we put index.js. Then next, we have dependencies. There won't be any dependencies we will be installing. So we're just going to give the curly bracket. And then next, we got scripts, and then here, curly braces open, and then we're just gonna do start, here, what's going on here is that we're gonna just start when it begins. What's gonna happen is it's gonna start the node.js, and then it's also gonna run the index.js. So that's the end of the JSON file. And then next, now we can make our Docker file. So we do that. All right, so first thing we will do is write from. So we're gonna say node colon 14 dash alpine. So here we're just saying, hey, for this Docker file, what is the image we're gonna be using? So we decided it would be node 14 dash alpine. Next, we'll do work dir / app. All we're saying is, what are we setting the working directory to? And we're setting it to /app. Next, we're gonna have copy. And so what we're saying here is we're gonna copy all files and it'll be put into the /app directory. That's what's going on in that line. And then next, we're going to write run npm install. So now we're going to install the package, the npm package as well. Next, we're going to expose port 3000. That's what this line of code does. And then we're going to set the environment variable. So it's going to be name, then equal Docker project. Then for the last thing, I'm going to write cmd. So put the brackets. So here we're just saying when the container starts up, what do we want it to do? So the first thing is we want it to run the npm package. So once it's installed and the container starts running, it's going to start. And then next, we just put start. So basically, when a container starts, the npm service will be running. So that's the end of the Docker file. So let me just take a quick look at some stuff. I think everything looks good so far. So what we can do is pull up the terminal. So let's do that. Then we'll use WSL. So we can just delete those. And so what we'll do is we're already in the file location as seen by the terminal. So we don't have to do anything except we can do docker build -t. So we're tagging it. What are we going to name it? I'm going to name it node.app, and then the dot. All right. So it made made our Dockerfile. And then next, I'm going to do Docker run -p, and so the port. So we're saying we're defining the port that that the container is going to use. So it's going to be 3000. And then what image will it use? It'll use the image we just created to run the container, node.app. And so now it's saying, hey, it started, and right now our server is running at this location. So what we can do is you can just go Google Chrome and then just type in localhost :3000 and see, and here's our web server. And it says, hello world. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to take a look at my LinkedIn page. So just to give an overview of what we've done, first we created our index.js file, which was creating our HTTP web server. So we set the host name, we set what port we wanted to be listened on, we created the server, we set the status code to let us know that it's successful, we set the content type, the header, and the text as plain. We put the message that we want to see whenever we go onto that web server. And then here, we're just saying we told the server to listen in on the port and the host name that we had defined earlier above. And so, and when we run the container, it should pop up this message saying server running at http / etc., which it says so right here. And then here, package.json file, we defined the name, what version we was going to use, the description, where is it gaining its information from, the index.js file, any dependencies that will be installed, any scripts. Let's see, have node index.js. And then finally, Dockerfile. We said we're going to use the node image that's 14-alpine. We set the working directory to /app. We copied all files within the system to that working directory. Then we made sure to install the npm package. Then we made sure to expose port 3000. And then we set the environment variable to Docker project. And then lastly, we said when the container starts, start the npm service. And so just in short, Node.js allows developers to create a fast, scalable, and efficient network applications, and this makes it suited for high-performance web applications and microservices. So even though this was on a small scale, it can be easily used to make something bigger and more sustainable and scalable as well. So on that note, that is the end of this video. I hope you gained some knowledge from my explanation, and I will see you in the next video.